Mark Denholm
at Breakfast Podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 181 of the best bits of the Atom Radio Breakfast Show podcast. And this is Mark Denholm from the Atom Radio Breakfast Show. How was your week? What a couple of gorgeous days we had squeezed into this week as well. Hope all went well. And now let's take a little look back and recap with the best bits of the Breakfast Show this week. On the way, failure to avoid Eurovision. What rookie error did I make? Something which may appeal to your childishness if you're like me. Food dilemmas and fashion dilemmas as well. Plus, we've also got proof, potentially, that the Queen doesn't like politicians. We've got an out-of-this-world experience that proves you're out of your mind and more. Here we go.
Mark Denholm
at Breakfast Podcast.
At the weekend, I made a conscious decision not to watch, and I know this will be unpopular opinion, not to watch Eurovision. It has absolutely no interest whatsoever, and I managed really, really well. I did not watch Eurovision, however, made a bit of a rookie error and did not mute the hashtag on Twitter or the word, and I may as well have watched it. Like my whole timeline, and indeed the same on Facebook, was just full of Eurovision, and it just isn't me.
This is Mark Denholm
at Breakfast.
Atom Radio.
I have to say, I've done my research now. Coquille St. Jacques Day is scallops, and sea monkeys, they are novelty aquarium shrimps. So it's not really that exciting after all, is it?
Mark Denholm at Breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
Streaming from Sale, banging out the anthems. This is Atom Radio. Morning, it is Mark Denholm on Atom Radio. Loud, proud and standing out from the crowd. If you have a childish sense of humour, like me, this day 1979 in British politics, the politician Terry Dix lost an election to his competitor, Michael Cox.
Mark Denholm
at Breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
I'm going to wrap up your emails today on this whole holiday thing. I said that I fancied a holiday, namely because I fancy a change of scenery, and also in an entirely lazy way, I quite fancy just deciding what I want for breakfast and it arrives, and the same for dinner, rather than actually doing the cooking and all that sort of stuff, right? So that's me. But then I was having a conversation yesterday and I was asked who I'd go with, and I said, well, myself. And they said, well, that's crazy though, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. And Claire kind of backs that up now. And I guess in one short email, Claire has probably talked sense into me on this, which is, well, thank you, Claire. But it's also a little bit annoying, if I'm honest, because you just ruined my idea of a holiday on my own. But Claire says, didn't you say just last week that you were absolutely bored during lockdown when you had your own company? Yes, Claire, I did say that. And then Claire says, if that's the case, wouldn't you then be very, very, very bored if you went on holiday on your own? And you know what, Claire? You are right on that. I suppose if I got bored with my own company during lockdown staying at home, I'd get bored on holiday with my own company. Thank you, Claire. Have a lush Monday.
Mark Denholm
at Breakfast Podcast.
Streaming from Sale, banging out the anthems. Morning, this is Mark Denholm at Breakfast on Atom Radio. It's a Tuesday morning. It's day 2 of 5 on the journey to the weekend. And by all accounts, today will be the hottest day of the week by some way. So if you've got something planned for today and you can get out of it because you want to go outside instead, I'm just wondering how many people are going to call in sick now today. Or those who've got the day off will call in sick tomorrow because they've managed to get heat stroke or sunstroke today. It's going to happen, isn't it? It's going to happen. Be very suspicious if a member of your team calls in sick either today or tomorrow.
This is Mark Denholm
at Breakfast.
Atom Radio.
Welcome to Tuesday. It is Mark Denholm at Breakfast on what will be the hottest day of the year today so far, with highs up at 27 degrees. I will say, on a completely boring note, don't forget, take a bottle of water, keep hydrated, and wear sunscreen. I know that sounds really, really boring, but I'm just looking out for you, I'm keeping an eye out and making sure that you are okay. I'm also making sure you are well fed, because today we talk random things that you have had for breakfast on air at atomradio.co.uk. If you'd like to get involved, it's all because I had a chicken korma and rice for breakfast this morning before the show, because I had to over-order it last night to get my takeaway to actually be delivered. And we say morning to Laura. Laura says, I have had before jelly and ice cream for breakfast, although there is a reason. Laura goes on to say she had it because she had tonsillitis and her tonsils were really sore and infected, and it was only soft stuff that she could eat, and she just felt sorry for herself and thought she'd have jelly and ice cream. Now, Laura, are you one of those that puts your jelly and ice cream together, or did you have jelly and then ice cream? Because if I'd have been in your shoes, it would have been either the jelly first or the ice cream first and then the other one, and I would have kept them separate because I like jelly and I like ice cream, but I don't like them together. So which would it be? Like, for me, I would have had them separately. I'll be honest, I probably would have had both. I don't have a problem with that by any stretch of the imagination. And I don't have a problem with you having it either, Laura. Each to their own, and certainly you had good reason as well. And I do hope that your tonsils are now much better.
Mark Denham.
At breakfast. Podcast.
Morning! Mark Denham at breakfast on Atom Radio. Loud, proud and standing out for the crowd on what's going to be another scorcher. Highs up at 25 today. If you're thinking about your fashion, an Amazon bestseller right now are what they call crop trousers. They're available in many different colours, and they are being called a must-have for the summer. Now, I don't know who's calling them a must-have. Probably Amazon, because they're selling them, if I'm honest. These things will cost you 22 of your pounds. And just looking at the pictures here, they just look like trousers that perhaps maybe are crossed with leggings that you wash too hot and they shrunk in the wash. I don't get it, if I'm honest. Like, £22, must-have item, just looks like something old that you managed to shrink in the wash.
This is Mark Denham.
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.
Morning to a care worker who took a COVID test. How very responsible before going into work. However, she managed to get the swab stuck. Not so clever. What she did next, even less clever, she swallowed it. She then had to go into hospital and have emergency surgery to remove the swab. I wonder if they then told her whether in fact she was positive or negative.
This is Mark Denham.
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.
18 minutes to 8 o'clock. This is Mark Denham Breakfast Morning, and welcome to Wednesday. I think it's obvious the Queen doesn't like politicians. The Queen missed the state opening of Parliament last week, before then going to Windsor Horse Show and absolutely beaming. Went to her Platinum Jubilee celebrations at the weekend, and then yesterday was there for a opening of the new Elizabeth line. Fairly obvious, therefore, that the Queen does not like politicians.
Mark Denham at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
But I digress. Today we ask you, what is it that confuses you? As over half of Britons admit that they are confused by their cars, they don't know all the buttons do and the switches, and more than half say got no idea what it means when a warning light comes on. Slightly less than half have no idea how to set the clock, and therefore for half the year drive round with the clock an hour out. That is amazing, I think. I'd like to know, therefore, today on air at atomradio.co.uk, what is it that confuses you in day-to-day life? And this I read exactly as Nige writes it. Morning, Mark. I find it confusing how some absolute nobodies are actually famous. Now, I read that exactly as it's sent to me. It's not necessarily my opinion, although I may agree with it. It's what Nige says, though, how some nobodies are famous. And do you know what? There is that, though, isn't there? Like, sometimes when you look on lists of celebrity birthdays, you get, like, TikTok star, never heard of them. YouTuber, never heard of them. And you just think, how on earth are these people actually classed as famous?
Mark Denham.
At breakfast. Podcast.
If I go to the supermarket and I scan my own shopping, I expect a discount because there's nobody scanning my shopping, right? They're not having to pay anybody's wages to scan my shopping. Do I get a discount for doing that? No, I do not. And that's quite annoying. And the other thing that's quite annoying as well, and I've noticed this in my local store, which incidentally, by the way, is not Tesco, it's Asda. But sometimes when I go to the cigarette counter, I just find that there are people who just, I think, go there just for a chat. And that's quite annoying because I just want to get like one thing and go. And it's quite annoying that there are people who are there chatting.
This is Mark Denham.
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.
17 minutes to 8 o'clock. Morning. This is Mark Denham at breakfast. Online, on mobile, on smart speaker. Banging out the anthems on Atom Radio. And your anthemic journey, that will continue with me until 10 before we head into the non-stop workday. People who practice mindful meditation, mindfulness meditation even, I'm not entirely sure what it is, so I best get it right. If you do that for 30 days, you know what, maybe this is true because I don't practice it. Should we just start again? People who practice mindfulness meditation for 30 minutes a day find noticeable changes in their brain connectivity within just 2 weeks. I think the way I attempted to read that is probably an advert for why you should do mindfulness meditation.
This is Mark Denholm.
At breakfast.
Atom Radio.
First, though, 100,000 people have signed a petition demanding that Tesco get rid of these self-checkouts that they introduced 20 years ago and bring back the cashiers. And Richard and I were discussing on Tuesday night the fact that you never see anyone with a briefcase anymore. So with that in mind, the Tesco checkout operator, Tesco say that they do still have some tills. And yes, they do, although most of them are now self-checkout. With that in mind, the briefcases, the till operator, what do you miss? Things that have gone from your life that was once there and now you miss. And I say morning to Dean. Thank you for your email today. Dean isn't first one in, but I'm reading this out first because I think this may have won the day. If there was a prize for email of the day, I think that Dean has just scooped this. All right? Dean says, I miss when the world was a sensible place. When you could say to someone, that give it to that man over there or that lady over there without offending them because they might not be a man or a lady in their opinion. When you could say to someone, morning, you look nice today, without being accused of sexual harassment. When you could pay someone a compliment without them looking down their nose at you and frowning. I miss when the world was sensible.
Mark Denholm.
At breakfast. Podcast.
Last week was Mental Health Awareness Week. I'm so glad this didn't come around last week because I don't really think I could have covered it. But I want to talk about something that happened on the TV yesterday on the ITV show this morning. An actress and podcaster appeared on the show to talk about her love life. Speaking with Philip and Holly, she claimed her and her partner met when she was abducted by aliens, and she claims that she is in love with an alien. And I kid you not, this is 100% true. It happened on the telly yesterday. If you don't believe me, go to ITV, catch up. She uses an inflatable alien as a substitute for him in order to keep his identity protected. I'm sorry, I'm struggling to take this seriously, but this lady actually claims that she is in love with this alien. I can't believe it. Like last week was Mental Health Awareness Week. I think if this had happened last week, somebody would have been on to ITV immediately offering this woman some form of counselling and help. Abducted by an alien and claims that she is now in love with one of them and carries around a blow-up alien to take his place. I'm sorry. I cannot help but find that funny. I know that she probably thinks this is dead serious, but if you are friends with this lady, I would suggest that you have a very, very serious word with her.
Mark Denholm at breakfast.
This is Atom Radio.
Morning, welcome to Friday. Mark Denholm at breakfast on Atom Radio, banging out the 80s anthems because it is Friday. If you have just woken up, you missed what we're talking about today. People have been sharing some of the shocks they found in people's bios on online dating, and I was asking today about the strangest reasons that people have knocked you back. One of my friends has messaged me and said, what about you though, the original Mr. Fussy? Well, do you know what? They may have a point. If I'm honest, they may have a point, right? I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for my fussiness, there's no way that this amount of prime male specimen would be single otherwise. It must just be down to my fussiness. But then I don't call it fussiness. I just call it getting someone that I'm likely to match with.
Mark Denholm.
At breakfast. Podcast.
Stand by that, and I back it up by saying, if you have the choice of either waiting for a Bentley to come along or picking up an old banger where the doors don't even shut properly, which would you go for? You see, it's not fussy, it's just holding out for what you want. It's not by any stretch of the imagination fussy. I thank you. That's that door closed on that argument. And I say my show's a democracy. Thank you so much for checking out episode 181 of the podcast this week. The best bits of breakfast will return next week with episode 182, and the show is back on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday between 6 and 10, and you can listen on atomradio.co.uk, tune in Radio Box, Streamer, iTunes Radio and indeed your smart speaker. Recent research shows that over 10% of radio listening is now done on your smart speaker. If you have one, just say play Atom Radio on TuneIn as well as your keyword and it will happen. That also works on your mobile phone as well via the Hey Siri or OK Google. Either of those will do exactly as you ask them to do, and you can listen Monday to Friday, 6 until 10.
Mark Denham
At breakfast.
Atom